This is Ticker News Insight.
Hello and welcome back to Ticker News Insight, where we are looking to focus on the best of business and speak with clever people, bringing us unique insights from all around the world. I'm your host, Mike Loder, and to our latest story. And with the rising cost of living, my next guest wants to pose a question. Is Gen Z being equipped to make positive financial decisions? Let's bring in Kitty Thomas from Debt Angel Solutions to find out a little bit more about what she's seeing out there at the moment. Good to see you, Kitty. Thanks for your time.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Now, how do you understand, I was just going to ask, how do you understand the current way we're equipping youth of today to manage their financial obligations, do you think?
I think that we've actually got them almost at a disadvantage. We're kind of living in a tap and go environment where kids kind of don't see cash. They just kind of see us tapping either a credit card or a debit card to process a payment. And they kind of miss the practical component of holding on to cash that we've had. So I think that it really affects them in them being able to see the real value of money. And that's really sad for them. It's creating negative habits for them as well, which is tough.
100%. I remember getting pocket money, having coins, collecting coins, keeping a jar, a piggy bank. And you're right, that physical aspect of it was really valuable to have. What financial habits and strategies can Generation Z, I guess, adopt to build their financial literacy and achieve that independence that so many of us are striving for, especially during that early development phase?
So what you touched on there about, collecting those coins and the tangibleness of it, that's great. And I think that if we can pay our kids, their pocket money or in cash, and then teach them how to allocate those funds. So either to a bank account, if they're going to then physically put it in there, or in envelopes where we kind of have savings and spendings and, long-term savings, etc. In particular, if there's something they're saving for. And then also, of course, having really healthy conversations with them. I think money is such a taboo conversation. People kind of, definitely in my generation, you weren't to talk about money. It was a little bit of a subject you don't speak of kind of thing. Whereas nowadays, I think it's really important, especially with all of the talk about, inflation and, interest rates and the cost of living, and, the kids are seeing that and they're feeling that. So using that opportunity to really plug into the kids and say, hey, the reason that the Slurpee went up in value is because of this, and speaking to them on a level that they understand. And what that does is it sets them up for the future. You're showing them that if they can understand, what their money's going to do for them if they don't spend it up front, or if they actually hold on to that money and save for what they want, it's a very rewarding feeling. Achieving a goal that you've set for yourself. And the only way they're going to learn that is not living in the instant gratification world that they currently live in out there in advertising land. It's to teach them and give them the tools that they need to actually build a solid financial future for themselves.
Absolutely. And we, of course, didn't have social media and markets in our pockets as kids as well, which is an interesting one as well. You can double tap, use Apple Pay to buy a cardigan online or whatever. But what do you think the greatest financial challenges to Generation Z that they've had to overcome, I suppose, and I guess will need to overcome into the future based on what you're seeing as well?
Yeah. Well, that's a really great point as well. I think that that Generation Z lives in this instant gratification world. They want, they get, they want, they get, because it's so easy for them to go into a buy now, pay later environment. And we don't just have the Afterpay anymore. We've got so many incarnations of this before pay or wage pay or any of these alternative lines of credit that are available that I believe puts kids into people into a really, really difficult spot. So again, if they're seeing the habits that you're doing as the parent or an adult in their environment, and you're like, oh, well, I'll just put it on Afterpay and, pay it off over the next 4 kind of installment payments that I get my pay. Yeah. And then they're saying that you've run out of money, then that's really going to affect them. So empowering them and teaching them the value of money. And having them understand the numbers, that's a huge component. Like understanding, well, if you buy this item now, it may cost you $100. That's the price of it. But by the time you pay it off over the next however many payments, you're paying an account fee, you're paying late fees if you miss a payment, you're paying interest if you miss that. and therefore the product price might end up 150, possibly 200.
Kitty, I'm
So you're
curious to
actually
know,
costing yourself.
Kitty, just to
Sorry.
summarise, and again, very quickly for me to finish, what would your takeaway be for people out there looking to educate Gen Z and helping them out? What would be your piece of advice, again, just to finish?
Main one would be just know your numbers. You know your numbers so that you can teach them to kids. You know, if you're going to look at an environment or they want something, a PlayStation or whatever it is that they want for themselves, then walk through it with them. Explain to them, hey, this is what it's going to cost you if you do it this way, and this is what it's going to cost you when you do this way. And usually what I find
Kitty, it's all
is
the
that
time
when
we've
we
got
come
for,
out the other
unfortunately. I want to thank you for joining us on the program and, of course, highlighting a bit
Sure.
about what we're seeing. Unfortunately, I'll have to talk to you again down the track because it's going to be an ongoing discussion, as we know. So thanks again.
it sure is. Thanks for
And of course, thank you to all of you for tuning in. I hope you've learned something from my discussion with Kitty there. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Be well.